Welcome back to day 23 of 30 of my talking to the camera journey. And in today's video, I am testing out a new setup. Using my different mic, not carrying my lapel anymore. Lighting, playing around with that, and then eventually adding some stuff in the background just to see how we land. And actually using a camera other than my iPhone 16 Pro. So yeah, just testing quality, tinkering with things here and there. But yeah, what I wanted to speak on today was just a reflection again on the concept of not allowing other people to label you and to hold on to those labels. To correct that a little bit, you can't stop people from labeling you, judging you. There's a human condition with that. That's going to happen by default. But holding on to those labels is something very much so in our control. Now, where does this come from? I was in the gym this morning and I was implementing some mobility drills that I hadn't done in a long time. Now, the thing about me, I used to be absolutely obsessed with everything having to do with anatomy, biomechanics, kinesiology. To be fair, I still love the topic, but so much so that I was going online, absorbing YouTube videos, reading books just to figure out where the source of my nagging pain was coming from, what was probably moving wrong, and how I could adapt from there to fix my problems. Hence why I went down the pathway originally in college to actually study kinesiology with an emphasis on physical therapy. A story for another day. But yeah, just that concept of not allowing the labels to stay with you. And there was a very deeply rooted label that I started to feel as I was doing these mobility drills. And that is that of back in grade school, high school even up to college, I would hear things from friends, and yeah, it was probably done in light-hearted humor, but this concept of, oh, you're an old man, oh, you get hurt all the time. I mean, I've had 4 surgeries since by the time I was 21 years old, which is pretty crazy to think about. But I would always be called old man this, old man that, or, oh, you're always getting injured. And I used to have this identity as this athlete that could do it all, run faster than anybody else, perform no matter what the sport was. And I held on to that so tightly. And every time I would hear that label, a little bit of me would die inside. I could feel it. It would trigger me. It became a huge insecurity of mine. So much so, even more recently in life, that as I continue to just move away from certain sports, I felt this sense of lack in my life, that even being able to go out and play pickup in anything, whether it's, I don't know, pickleball, play tennis, run around with a soccer ball, shoot some hoops even. But this fear of just getting hurt over and over again kept coming back to my mind. And the reason why this label conversation came up is because as I was going through some mobility drills this morning, I stumbled on something that ended up genuinely being the source of why a certain part of my body, being my ankle and right knee, wasn't functioning the way they needed to, coming from an aspect of my hip and a lack of stability and a lack of capacity for it to move a certain way. And when I stumbled on it, I had a eureka moment. As I've been talking about identity a lot in my videos, is I was thinking back to the identity that I took on, of that of like a broken athlete, ex-athlete, someone who is always injured. And subconsciously, I kept running that script without really realizing it. And that label came up again. He's like, wait, John, what do you think you're doing? You're an old man. You get hurt all the time. Like this mobility stuff, this dream or aspiration of being able to go out and run pain free, go to pickup sports pain free, join the fitness community, and be able to perform pain free and not worry about injuring yourself. Like, where is that coming from? Like, you're an old man. You can't do those things. And it was this voice, this nagging voice that was just stemming from all of these labels that I continued to accept and even buy into myself that had so much more energy than the energy I was giving to my aspiration of returning to a certain level of physical fitness. But this morning, I said no more of that. Like, who am I to get on here and talk about this concept of identity if I'm not living it myself and taking action in a way that proves that I am who I say I am? And so when it comes to labels, it's so important to not get caught up in the voices, opinions, and thoughts of what other people are saying, the naysayers to you. Because at the end of the day, it's only you that are in control of what your reality ends up becoming. And if you're not speaking words of positivity, words of affirmation into your life, then you are literally just giving the keys away to unconscious energies out there. And then in that way, you're not walking in the spirit. You're not walking in the way that God has designed you. And so I made a very important voice note to myself that I will be continuing to stoke and listen to, as I was talking about the concept of repetition, just to wake up each morning and before I go to bed to truly soak in who I am and claim it. Because if you don't claim your own label, then unconsciously you'll find yourself accepting anything else that you come across. So labels, labels, labels. So important to protect this asset here up top so that you can truly protect what moves everything else in your life. So that's what I wanted to speak on today. It's been day 23 of my 30-day talking to the camera journey, and it's getting more and more fun, more technical setups going on. This one was a little bit more time intensive, but I'll get it down as far as the speed, and we'll just keep this party rolling. So if you listened into this and you got something from it, let me know. Hopefully it impacts you in some way and causes some level of a paradigm shift. But until tomorrow, we'll talk again. Thanks for listening.